With me today is Glenn DSouza, General Manager of the prestigious Hyatt Pune. Glenn, welcome to Candid with Karl.
Hey, Karl. Thank you so much for bringing me here. And it's a pleasure having a chat with you today.
Always. And let's dive straight in to a place where you were born and raised, the city of dreams, Mumbai.
Yeah. So I was born and brought up in Mumbai, Karl, and I've lived the first few years of my life out there.
Right.
However, for the last 16 years, I've actually not been in Mumbai.
Ooh.
I've been traveling down the globe,
Right.
working with hotels,
Right.
city after city, country after country,
Uh-huh.
and just been enjoying it.
Wow. So once you finish your formal education, how did this bug of hospitality bite you?
It's funny, you know. My godfather,
Godfather,
my godfather, he was an executive chef at the hotel.
Right.
So I used to see him doing his shiz back at home, and the way that he used to work at the hotel, it intrigued me.
Right.
And I thought, one day I really want to be like him.
Mhm.
And I wanted to be an executive chef
Oh, I see.
at a hotel. So
Right.
that's how this whole thing started.
Mhm.
And I thought I would enter hotels, and here I am.
Super. So, what was your first foray into a formal hotel?
So a lot of you actually would not know this, Carl. When I started my career, I started as a chef.
Is that so? So, you literally wanted to follow your Don Corleone, the Godfather.
Exactly.
Right.
I thought I would do that.
Right.
And I started my career as a chef. First year in the kitchen. Enjoyed it. Didn't as much as what I would have expected it to be.
Mhm.
While, you look at the whole glamorous side of life when you look at hotels.
Right.
But kitchens are a fun place. But I guess my personality was way too outgoing. I wanted to be out there, speak to people.
Right.
And I switched. I switched into rooms. What's
Okay.
that?
So this transition, because I know, being a chef is very specialized. And normally they talk of rooms being generalized.
Correct.
So why did you feel that you're more a front of the house guy, or how did it work?
I actually felt it was more about me loving to interact with people, right?
Okay.
So in the kitchen, I could use my skill, get the food done. But at that point of time in life, say 20 years before, when the industry was very different, a chef was never out at the table talking to customers.
Right.
It was more of the guys at the front desk.
Correct.
And people in the front.
Yeah.
So I thought, why not?
In fact, many a times people didn't even know who the chef was.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
Right.
So that brought me switching myself out. And I just turned into going in a front office.
Oh, I'm so glad, because your personality is definitely one of a people's person, and somebody, I would imagine, who loves interacting with people.
Yeah.
So as you moved, obviously when you come into front office, you start maybe as, the front office executive and you receptionist, and then you think of being the front office manager, evolving into an executive assistant manager, and then being a GM.
Right.
So how did your transition up the ladder happen?
It's very surprising. It's going to be surprising to you,
Right.
Karl. When I started my career and I switched, I moved into airport services.
Are you serious? Wow.
I was the guy at the airport
Uh-huh.
holding a placard saying, "Hey, welcome to Mumbai, and I'm here to pick you up."
Right.
And
right.
I picked up guests from the airport for a hotel in Mumbai.
Okay.
And I did that for close to a year.
Wonderful.
And that's how my journey in rooms started.
Okay.
And from there is
You
where I
escorted them
switched.
to the hotel, and then you said, "Let me now escort them to the room."
Correct. Let's put it that way. So
Right.
I moved.
Right.
I moved, and then the funny thing with hotels, Karl, is everybody who's passed out during the years that I did.
Correct.
For us, hotels were all about people at the front working at the front desk.
Absolutely. The glamour.
The glamour.
The jazz, yes. Yeah.
Everybody wanted to do that.
Right.
I wanted to do that too.
Correct.
And funnily, when I entered rooms operations, my then boss said, I'll put you there
Right.
slowly and gradually
Right.
when the time's right.
Okay.
And when I did airport services for the first 6 months, I walked back to him and I said, "Boss, can I move into front office now?"
Okay.
And my boss at that point said, "Listen, let's move you into business center."
Oh, I see. Okay.
I worked for business center.
Yes.
Couple of months, say 6 months is where I worked there.
Right.
I went back to my boss and I said, "Boss, can I please move
Right.
at the front desk?"
Right.
And that's when he moved me to concierge.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
funny how, people who think when you pass out from college,
Right.
you come back to hotels,
Right.
you directly want to work at the front desk, right? I worked through concierge. Then I finished concierge. I went back to my boss again saying, "Can I please move to the desk?" And he said, "Listen, I think you should work at the executive lounge.
Okay.
Where the happy hours are,
Right.
and people are being served. So he said, you'll do a little of F&B also there.
Right.
I ended up doing that. I was just frustrated at one point saying,
Right.
listen, when do I get the front desk?
Correct.
And my boss said, there will be a time and I'll give it to you. You know something funny? I went down the line 2 years. I went back to my boss and said, you don't give me the front desk, I quit.
Wow. So this whole transition, from guest relations to concierge to the executive center, it all took you 2 years, huh?
It took me 2 years.
Wow.
At that point of time, I was found it very funny because I
Right.
said, why would you do that? I want to work at the front desk, but you're pushing me through.
Correct.
But funnily, Karl, everything has its own purpose.
Right.
When I went back to my boss and I said, I quit,
Hmm.
strangely, he said, you would realize it today, but I'll give that role to you, not today. You still have to spend a little more time. And I quit the hotel at that point.
Wow.
And I moved to another organization.
Wow. In another hotel.
In another hotel.
Right,
An
right.
Indian hotel is where I worked in.
Correct. And that they take you straight in front office.
No, and that is where I moved into cashiering.
Oh,
So
you were at the front desk
At the
anyways.
front desk.
Right.
But at that point of time, hotels had very different setups.
Yeah.
So a front desk would do front desk.
Correct.
A cashier would do cashier.
Correct.
But I said, why not? It's my first time to work at the front desk, a part of the desk.
Right.
I might as well do that.
Yeah.
And I took up that role.
Right.
6 months down, I enjoyed it,
Mm.
but I still wanted to work with customers.
Mhm.
Speak to guests, do the check-in, do that whole shiz that
Right.
everybody talks about when they're in college.
Correct.
And funny me,
Mm.
I walked up to my boss and I said, listen,
Mm.
I want to move to the desk.
Right.
And he said, give me a couple of more months.
Okay.
That is when I again said, listen, boss, I'm sorry, I quit.
Right.
And I came back to my company then, which I was previously working with.
Right.
Strangely, my boss there. And see, this is how life is, right? It joins the dots every
Correct.
time that
Correct.
you think that this was not needed.
Correct.
I used to work at the airport
Right.
earlier.
Mhm.
So I used to pick up a lot of general managers when they were coming back
Wow.
at that time
Yes.
at their
Yes.
hotels.
Yes.
So I walked into one of these hotels where I knew the GM because I had picked him up in
Wow.
the past.
Correct.
He saw me at the corridor
Mhm.
of the hotel.
Mhm.
And he asked me, he said, what are you doing here?
Right.
I said, listen, I'm coming here for an interview.
Right.
And I'm sorry I'd left the company earlier, but I want to come back home.
Right.
The first thing that the gentleman did is he put his hand around my shoulder and he walked me to the HR.
Right.
And he said, listen, our boy wants to come home. Let's bring him
Wow,
back
Glenn,
home.
this is fabulous. Right.
That is when I hit the front desk for
Okay.
the first time in my career.
Right.
And strangely, I realized
Mhm.
that the 2 years that I did in the past
Mm.
were just not waste of time.
Right.
That actually groomed me in a lot of areas. And strangely, Karl, once I hit the front desk, every year after year, I kept on growing up the ladder.
Wow.
Because
Wow.
I knew certain basics
Mm.
that I'd done in different areas of the hotel in the
Mm.
past.
Mm.
And it just came handy.
Such an amazing story, Glenn, because I started my life at the Oberoi at the front desk,
Wow.
which was my first job. And as luck transpired and life took me down the road, I always wanted to end up like you and being a general manager.
Right.
Well, I didn't. It's a long story. But now I have the privilege of interacting with general managers on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
So life is really very funny. And I remember back in the day, we always had this thing at the Oberoi saying, the guest is always right.
Right.
Because that is the essence of the hospitality industry, where you put the guest first. What is your concept of hospitality?
So things have actually changed over the years, Karl.
Right.
I still agree to guest is always right.
Right.
Yes, fair enough.
Correct.
But in today's world, with the way things are,
Mhm.
it's probably not 100%.
Brilliant.
There
Right.
could be a time where, a guest is not right.
Right.
There's-
And sometimes you have to tell him so.
And you have to be. You have
Yes.
to be righteous
Right.
in the way that you approach him.
Correct.
Don't be uncourteous.
Mhm.
Be courteous in the way that you have to communicate your things.
Right.
But there are times that you have to put your foot down today in today's
Yes.
world and
Yes.
say, listen, no, this is not what it is.
Right.
And I'm sorry it happened.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, I'm hearing you, I'm
Right.
listening to you,
Correct.
but I'm sorry.
Yes.
I won't
Yes.
give up to what you want.
Yes.
Because things have changed.
Glenn, I think I endorse what you're saying completely. There were times when we felt very, very down as front office staff.
Right.
When we were ticked off by guests. We knew they were wrong,
Right.
but we couldn't say anything. But the funny thing is, I'm not even saying, because at front office, you're normally very junior. But even a lobby manager or a duty manager could never, ever, ever tell a guest off.
Correct.
And I'm happy now the whole transition has happened. And now it's like you use the word righteous. Righteousness is where it's all at.
Correct.
So if you were to say today to any youngster sitting across from your desk, and he said, "Sir, I have a beef, not maybe with you, but with the hotel. I don't feel I'm getting to where I should." Would you put your arm around him and tell him, "Okay, let's maybe not take a walk to HR, but let me counsel you in a better manner"?
So what I do today, Karl, is, when we were growing, things were very different in the way the industry dealt with individuals, with the way that we were taught things.
Right.
Maybe it was the hard way,
Correct.
is what we say.
Right.
Today, generations have changed.
Right.
They understand you, but they want to be understood also.
Yes. They understand you, but they want to be understood by you.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So today, if someone came back to me and said, "Listen, it's not working for me,"
Right.
I would absolutely put my arm around his shoulder, walk him around the lobby and say, "Hey, listen, talk to me.
Correct.
Let me understand what's your goal.
Right.
How do I help you fulfill it?"
Right.
And then work a way out. Because at the end of the day, as general managers, our role is just not running hotels. It's grooming people too, right? Yeah.
Glenn, you've put this very beautifully because, at the time when I grew, especially with hotels, the general manager, forget the general manager, but your line manager was God. I mean, you could never back answer him. You could never talk down to him.
Right.
And I think today it's more one of equality. I mean, you've become, I think even GMs have become a lot more approachable. You certainly are, in terms of one can approach you without any fear of being ticked off. And I think this is where I think as an industry, the hotel has moved upwards in terms of, retaining people. Because people today, I see a lot more happier since their views can be expressed and then, acted upon.
Karl, on that note, sometimes I can agree to disagree.
Right.
Certain hotels do, certain don't.
Yes.
It simply depends on the guy sitting at the top.
Case to case, yes.
Case to case.
Right.
My approach, or say the way that I like, working with my teams is the door's always open.
Correct.
Just walk in. At the end of the day, an unhappy team member is something that I would never want to have.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, what do we look at? We look at happy guests. These are my internal guests.
And these can only stem from happy employees.
Correct.
Right.
And as important as the guest is to my hotel, I think my team members are equally important.
Correct.
Because a happy guest, like you just rightly said, will only stem in because I have happy team members around.
Absolutely.
You have grumpy team members at the hotel. You'll have grumpy guests at the hotel.
Correct. Glenn, when you look on, hotels are always perceived as glamorous.
Right.
But they involve a lot of very, very long hours. What is your take?
So you rightly said that, Karl. The industry has been to be looked upon from people who've not worked at the industry as glamorous, rightly said. For hoteliers who worked in the industry and for kids who worked in internships and aspired, they do feel that yes, there are long working hours, and I wouldn't deny the fact there are. But again, it's all about checks and balances that you put as a leader within your hotels. At the end of the day, the captain of the ship defines how his ship is going to run, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yes, there are long hours, and I wouldn't deny that. But those long hours would stem from not planning correctly.
Correct.
If you manage to plan things correctly in your hotels, you may be able to let go with the long hours. A lot of hotel companies today are working towards ensuring team members are working for 10 hours. Anybody working a little above is compensated off.
Oh, I see. Okay, wonderful.
With either equal pay for the hour, or even as complimentary time off. So we'll take, if you've given additional hours,
take of the time they've spent extra.
And we give you additional time off also.
Wow.
So there are companies which are doing that. And again, at the end of the day, you want happy people, right?
Correct.
If you burn folks out, may not work.
You get burned out, absolutely.
You get burnt out.
When I first came to Pune 25 years ago, there was just the Blue Diamond.
Right.
And aside from that, there was the Sagar Plaza and Hotel Aurora Towers. Pune has mushroomed into having 3 Hyatts and 3 Marriotts, the Ritz-Carlton, the Conrad Hilton, and a lot of other really, really upmarket hotels.
Right.
How have you seen the growth of hotels in Pune?
So what I've seen from statistical data in the city is Pune as a city, like you rightly said, has mushroomed with office spaces.
Correct.
The who's who were placed out of Bangalore or Mumbai, offices have moved on to Pune.
Right.
And with the way the government is right now thinking about planning and growing things around in Pune, it's just going to be on a skyrocket pace
Wow.
in the
Wow.
next 5 years.
Wow.
From hotels standpoint, we
Yeah.
have limited inventory when it comes to what 5 stars are.
Right.
It's actually a micro market.
Right.
Like for us today, Viman Nagar and this side of life, Nagar Road,
Right.
where we are placed,
Correct.
it's a micro market.
Mhm.
Because this market is very different from what the Hinjawadi would play out,
True.
from what the other parts of Pune would play out.
True.
So I see hotels booming over the next 5 years at least. We will
In
have
Pune.
in Pune,
Right.
and
You see there's at least space for how many more hotels of, let's say, a 300 room property? How at least another 7 to 8?
I think there would be a few more. I've heard of a few more hotels
Wow.
already in the pipeline at
Right.
Magarpata
Right.
coming up.
Yeah.
You know, hotels are going to
Super.
spruce up. They
Super.
are.
Super. Glenn, what's your take on leadership? And can leadership be measured?
Very interesting call.
Right.
Very deep question, actually.
Yes.
What defines leadership? I guess, leaders they come in all sizes, actually.
Right.
Forms,
Right.
in the way that they want to.
Mhm.
Every leader may be different from the other.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, how I would define leadership is someone whom your team and they look up to.
Correct.
Leadership doesn't come with titles at the end of the day. It won't be that if I'm a general manager of the hotel, I am the leader only in this hotel.
Right.
My director of food and beverage, my rooms division manager, each one of them has that quality and are leaders. Leadership could be defined as, every time your team member is stuck
Correct.
with something that they cannot resolve,
Mhm.
who's the person that they think about or whom do they look up to? That's a leader. in
A
short.
leader inspires.
A leader
He just
inspires.
doesn't make you perspire.
True.
Right.
So
And,
that's
and
leader.
in the terms of measurement, do you think there are manners or ways that a leader can be measured?
Very, very rightly put when you say measurement of
Right. And
leadership.
I'm not
Karl.
talking by his bosses, but by his subordinates.
Yeah. So I personally have a belief. When we spoke about leadership and we talk about leaders, a lot of people think, XYZ or say Glenn today. I'll put myself
Correct.
on the spot.
Right.
Glenn's grown.
Yeah,
to
Glenn's a
be
great leader, for
Glenn's
example.
grown to be a general manager.
Right.
Oh, he's a great leader.
Right.
I guess, I agree, I disagree. It's
Right.
different from different perceptions,
Right.
different point of views of people.
Yeah.
My way of looking at leaders and the way that I personally measure myself
Mhm.
is a great leader should not be only defined by his or her growth.
Wow.
A leader should be defined by the number of people they've grown under them
Wow.
in their time. Because it's easy, right? I'll grow from a hotel to another hotel as a general manager today. What's the point? As a leader, I've grown. When do I make a difference as a leader? It is when I groom people to be leaders in the room. So the number of people I measure or I groom under my time, in my time that I'm working at a place, is how leadership should be defined. And every year or every 3 years or 2 years, depends on the time I spend in a hotel or in a city or wherever I'm working, I try and counter the last measurement that I had. So if I managed to groom X, can I do an X plus 1 in this hotel? And that's how I look at leadership. And I think that should be the way you should look at leaders and the measurement of leaders, because your self-growing is great. That's what you're here to do. So
Glenn, two things. Firstly, when you talked of grooming, my own catchline is get groomed and command the room.
right.
But more importantly, when you talked of leadership, you said a leader shouldn't be defined as by his growth, but the number of people he's allowed to grow. And I think that's truly, truly fascinating. Bravo.
Thank you so much, Karl.
Glenn, I believe a lot in mentorship.
Right.
And I truly feel that a right mentor at the right time can drive you in a direction sometimes you didn't even realize. Has there been a mentor or mentor who's guided you?
Yes, Karl. I've been blessed with a few mentors in my career over
Right.
the last 22 years.
Mhm.
And I won't name just one. I've
Right.
had a few.
Right.
My first general manager, when I started working, at that in 2006,
Mhm.
2006, he helped me understand what the industry was. But like we said, leaders, right? They help you grow.
Right.
You they help you groom.
Right.
They help you become that leader that you are today.
Correct.
So in 2008, I worked at the Renaissance in Mumbai, and I had a leader then. Gentleman was Philip Bryson.
Philip Bryson.
Right. Gentleman actually helped me groom. I had another.
But as in, you looked at him and got inspired by him? Or
The
did
way
he tell
that
you
he-
anything specific that,
the way that he dealt with people,
Right.
like I said, the humility that he had and the
Right.
way that he dealt with people,
Right.
Looked at mistakes as non-mistakes.
Mhm.
And he said, let's look at those mistakes as learnings
Wow.
and grow.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's Jaman there.
Fantastic. Every general manager I've ever met loves to talk of morning meetings.
Right.
And that's how he kind of sets the day with the heads of departments of various outlets. Are you a meetings person?
When you said morning meeting, yes, I agree. That is one of the most critical things that we do
Right.
as hoteliers. We talk about what's happened last night. We talk about if there were challenges.
Right.
That's one of the meetings that I personally believe is very critical for every hotelier
Correct.
or every hotel general manager to hold.
And you set the current day.
And you
also.
set the tone for the day.
Correct.
Yeah. But when you ask me, are you a meetings person? Now, I'm that kind of a person who likes not spending a lot of time in the office and holding meetings after meetings.
Right.
You just do it on the floor.
Correct.
Go to your floors,
Right.
speak to people. A meeting can always be done on the shop floor.
Yes.
Speak, understand, see. When you're placed in areas of the hotel and when you walk around the hotel and spend time with your team on the floor, I think there'll be very, very few times that you would need to hold meetings in the background because you've seen what's happening, you've given your feedback, you've taken feedback from your team, you've tried implementing things that could help them better, and that solves a lot of things that meetings wouldn't be able to solve. So yeah, meetings person, nah.
So, so you are more purpose driven than meetings driven.
Absolutely.
Fabulous.
Absolutely.
Glenn, having been a hotelier myself, while exciting for an incoming guest, it kind of gets a tad repetitive for the employee. How do you as general manager make each day exciting?
Very, very good question, Karl. Because what you've just touched upon is absolutely something as general managers or something as leaders is what we should be looking upon.
Right.
It gets very tedious on certain days
Right.
at work, right? And it gets very repetitive also, the things that you do.
Yes.
So how do you keep the excitement alive? Now, when you work with teams, when my work as a general manager, people think of a GM as a person who's working out of the office, envisioning things, making sure while you're approachable, there's still
That
this
reserve, yes.
from team members of, can we walk up?
Correct.
Can we do this? What I tend to do at the hotel is we finish a morning meeting, it's extremely serious, right? We've had goof ups.
Right.
I've lost my calm also at a meeting.
You have to tick people off.
It's happened.
Right.
But I've got a simple rule. The morning meeting and the way that we are stays only until the morning meeting. The moment we step out of that room, we're again calm folks. We can have the happy, chappy, smiley faces. We've done things have gone wrong probably. Right. I've ticked people off. People have ticked me off.
Right.
It's okay. We step out and I would probably just again put my arm around their shoulders and say, hey, listen, that's done. Let's go grab a coffee together.
Wow.
So as a team, we go head up, have coffee together. It just breaks the whole monotonous.
So you keep it issue-based, never make it personal.
Never make it personal.
Fantastic. Glenn, as a general manager, you come across irate customers, you come across funny customers, you come across weird customers. Has there been an incident? I'm sure there were many, but would you like to cite just one that was totally out of the ordinary?
Karl, incidents at hotels are numerous.
Right.
Numerous ones that I would hold.
Right.
So when you're asking me, is there something funny? I think till date, and this is something that comes to my mind, every time I think of a funny incident.
Right.
So in my early days, when I was at the line employee, right at the hotel, there was one of these days where we got a phone call
Right.
at the telephones.
Uh-huh.
A guest made a request
Correct.
saying he wanted something.
Mhm.
So a colleague of mine who heard this, it was more like a Chinese whisper.
Correct.
Heard something,
Mhm.
sent the request, got
Right.
it done, everything's done.
Correct.
10 minutes later,
Mhm.
I was in the lobby walking around. I saw this gentleman probably in his late 70s, 80s.
Wow.
Yeah, walked down with his
With crutches,
crutch,
though. Yeah,
with
wow.
his crutch to the front desk. And he comes and he just taps something at the front desk and he says, what am I going to do with this? I looked upon and we all looked at the desk and we saw a pack of condom. And we was wondering, why would he do that?
Right.
The gentleman then explained saying, I called up your team member and I said I wanted a candle in my room.
A candle.
Yes.
And at 80 years old, he probably you could have used a candle way better than a condom.
Yeah, so that was extremely funny.
Super. The new buzzword today is artificial intelligence, AI.
Mm.
How has it impacted the hotel industry?
So, unlike the IT industry, fortunately, for the hotels, it has helped us with a lot of back office things.
Right.
So you can't replace humans, right? At the
Correct.
front desk.
Correct.
I would love to check in without a human being around,
Yes,
but
yes.
it's not fun.
Right.
The whole essence of the industry would go away.
Right.
So while the front end of hotels will still stay the way that they are, I think the AI has helped us a lot in the background.
Right.
In the way that we were doing reportings,
Right.
in the way that we were looking at guest profiles, likes, dislikes,
Right.
maintaining.
It makes the whole
profiles.
process more dynamic.
The whole process is way more dynamic.
Right.
It's more a la minute.
Right.
So if Karl was to walk in today into my hotel and
Right.
check in,
Mhm.
I would, with the help of AI and the tools that we have in the background, would already know what are Karl's preferences.
Correct.
What does Karl like at
Mhm.
breakfast?
Mhm.
So my team members are equipped that when Karl walks into breakfast, they say, hey, Karl, good morning.
Right.
And we've got your cappuccino the way that you like. It's at your table. Would you like the eggs at the table now or later?
Wow.
And your preferences are all known.
Correct.
So even the housekeeper
Mhm.
in the room knows
Mhm.
Karl likes a feather-free setup in the room. So
Yes.
the feather-free setup is there. So your likes and dislikes are already there. And this is where AI is helping us in the background.
Wow. Moving on from AI into Glenn the person. I know, Glenn, you are a very passionate cyclist.
Yes, I am.
So did Lance Armstrong inspire you, or what are your inspiration to cycle?
It's funny, Karl, when cycling was always a passion, right?
Right.
So when I was working up, started my work and hospitality, like you
Right.
just rightly said, long hours.
Yes.
We didn't have the time
Mhm.
or the money because cycling as a sport,
Mm.
if you look at it from pure passion,
Correct.
it's a great sport to be,
It is.
but it's also an expensive one. So what happens is I didn't have the money when I had started because it was
Right.
an expensive
None of us did at that time.
None of us, I guess, because when I heard about the prices of these roadies
Right.
and the upgrades that you would do once you would start riding, man, it's phenomenally
Correct.
expensive.
Correct.
Didn't have the money, didn't have the time at that point in life. I grew into becoming, say, a manager, department head. The money started coming in, but the time wasn't still there.
Right.
And today, while I am general manager,
Right.
thank grace God,
Yes.
I have the money
Mhm.
and I also managed to get my time out
Wow.
for myself.
Wow.
And that is one thing that I personally believe keeps
Right.
me sane.
Uh-huh.
Today I tell every team member of mine, could be anything that you choose for yourself.
Right.
Choose one hobby that you want to, use as a counter mechanism to cut yourself off.
Wow.
Work will always
Cut yourself
be
off
there.
as if from the hotel.
Everything. Work. Cut yourself off from all your hassles of life.
Right. Right.
Because I'll frankly tell you a thing. When I go riding in the morning, Karl, those 1.5 or 2 hours that I ride,
Yeah.
those are my hours.
Correct. Your me time.
I don't think about the hotel.
Right.
I don't think about family.
Right.
I don't think about any pressures of life.
Mhm.
Those 2 hours are purely the bike, me, riding, my lungs screaming out
Correct.
when I'm climbing some of these climbs around in Pune.
Right.
But that just gives me clarity for the rest of the day.
Right.
It just keeps me sane and keeps me grounded, saying, you know what, it's not so bad yet.
Yes. And you expending energy in the morning,
Correct.
I think leaves you enough time for you to concentrate better during the day.
Exactly.
Glenn, having knowing you the little time that I have, you're a very fascinating individual. And, it's obvious that you're a people's person. What to you drives you?
What drives me, Carl? It's again. Let me put this in a small storytelling
Right.
manner. When I was growing up the ladder, I wanted a lot of things I expected as an individual that I would be helped in a certain way. If I did a mistake, someone would just say, "Hey, don't worry."
Right.
It was different then.
Correct.
Today, what drives me every day to work and when I'm doing my thing is I like doing things for people in the way that I expected them to be done for me.
Wow. Please repeat that. That's a fantastic line.
So and this was a question. Now,
Right.
this was a question my managing director
Right.
for the company asked me in one of my, in my conferences a few months back that we
Right.
were attending.
Right.
He said, "What did you change in yourself as a person today that you sit as general manager?"
Right.
The answer to that is what I just told you is I've started treating people in the way I wanted myself to be treated.
Treat people the way you want to be treated. What a
Exactly.
fascinating line, Glenn. And I think if more people, espouse this line, the world at large would be happier because treatment of you and me as people would improve.
Absolutely. And this is something I also try inculcating with my HODs.
Right.
Because there is a stigma within the industry, right? Our HODs, we've all grown through a different phase of life.
Correct.
And we've grown up the ladder. We've done things that I'm probably not proud of because
Right.
these long hours that we spoke about, the 12, 14, 16s,
Correct.
these were norms then.
Correct.
Today, I tell my HODs, I say, don't think about what you've done. It's good. We've done it. Move on.
Right.
Today's generation, the kids today, they want, like I said, they want to be understood.
Right.
While they want to listen to you, they want to be understood also.
Correct.
These long hours, I have a lot of individuals who worked along with me. I've had colleagues, peers
Correct.
who tell me, "Humne bhi to kiya tha."
Right. Right.
I want to walk away from that. I'm happy humne kiya tha, but if we don't make that change today, nobody's going to walk towards the industry.
Again, Glenn, this is so adequately and succinctly put because the Japanese believe that if you can't complete your work in the given 8 hours,
Right.
you're inefficient. So, it's a brilliant concept. I mean, obviously, it doesn't always translate to hotels.
Correct.
Because you're needed to be there longer hours, as in guest handling and stuff. But, if people really understood what you rightly said, that you want to be treated the way you treat people the way you want to be treated. Similarly, today, the way you want to work. If I can finish my work in 8 hours, why do I have to work 12?
Exactly.
And most employers see that longer hours means better output, which today's world is actually burnout.
Correct. Correct.
What to you is the essence of Glenn DSouza?
The essence of Glenn DSouza, like I would say, is like I just said that to you. I wanted to make that difference towards people who work with me at least.
Right.
Right. The essence of Glenn DSouza and the essence of me is.
Okay, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
Glenn DSouza, the general manager.
Right.
How does he differ, or is it completely in sync with Glenn DSouza, the person?
So Glenn DSouza, the general manager, and Glenn DSouza, the person.
Right.
Two different individuals, right?
Wow.
I tell people this, that, as a general manager, our titles are 9 to 6.
Right.
6 p.m. onwards, you're Glenn DSouza again.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
You need to make sure that your personality and the way that you treat people and the way that you deal with people does not change 24/7. Be it you in a suit with the title on you,
Right.
or be it you without the suit.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like one of my former employers.
And on the suit business, it is the man who makes the suit, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I worked at organizations, and I believe even at Hyatt today, we believe in you as a leader, leave an impact of how you treat people.
Right.
Nobody looks up to your business title and say, "No, I want to become a general manager because Glenn's a general manager."
Correct.
People look up and say, "I want to become a general manager because as a person, he's humble,
Right.
he's helped me grow myself,
Right.
and he's understood mistakes could be there."
Wow.
In fact, I'll tell you a funny thing. I've worked with someone in the past
Right.
whom I'd lost touch with over the last 1.5, 2 years.
Right.
Day before yesterday, I in the last week, I was in Goa, which is one of my favorite places to be. And the person who had worked with me in Goa a couple of years back, in fact, 5 years back, we'd lost touch. And the person just pinged me saying, "Did you move to Goa?"
Right.
And I said, "No, I didn't. I've just come here to visit."
Right.
The very next line that the person wrote on that message was, "I'm so thankful that I worked with you And I'm glad you had a lot of patience, and the way you treated me, I still remember that. That is the Glenn DSouza I want to be every day of my life.
Wow.
Because business titles are there today. They may not be there tomorrow.
Wow.
But a Glenn DSouza would always be.
Fantastic. Glenn, as a fellow Catholic and a fellow Christian, I'm part of this group called the Indian Christian Entrepreneurs.
Right.
And I frequently tell them that as a community, sometimes we don't have enough individuals who are in high places that we can aspire to be like. I'm really, really glad today I'm sitting with one who's not only a beacon of light to the Hyatt group, but to every single person that reports to you. Glenn, it's been absolutely fascinating and a privilege having you on Candid with Karl.
Thank you so much, Karl. It was a privilege.
Cheers.
Cheers, Karl.